Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. When we begin to realize that this universe extends into trillions of universes, thousands upon thousands of dimensions of different forms, parallel dimensions, densities. It is endless. When we look at in these bodies and we look at from the perspective of saying, well, we're small and pretty insignificant compared to this giant universe, all the planetary systems, all the suns, and how can we even come close to being supremely powerful beings? I'll give you an example. There are elements that are about the size, let's say a dime, the size of a dime. And yet, the density of these are so that even a crane, an industrial caterpillar crane, could not pick it up off the ground. Size of a dime, density of the material is so that a heavy-duty industrial crane could not pick it up off the ground. And you're talking of a kind of a makeshift head on it so that it can pick up small things. But I'm saying, if you went up, you say, oh, it looks like a pebble. You couldn't budge it. You couldn't even budge it, no matter how hard you tried. So we're tricked a lot by our eyes and our belief system. So we look at something and say, well, that's really small. But yet, like the alloy, the energy material, it's very tiny, yet very powerful. So when you start to realize that the size and the dimension have nothing to do with power, truly don't. And it's actually the opposite. So the gods within these bodies that we truly are supremely omnipotently powerful. Now the mind is too small of a container to comprehend that fact. And it's too small to comprehend the vastness of one universe, not including trillions of others, all intersecting, all connected. But yet different displacements. There are universes that are fluid. There are also universes that are reverse field. Many, many different civilizations God's inhabiting forms, physical forms that you wouldn't ever believe that why would you want to be that physical form? There are civilizations that, for instance, one inhabits a form contained of a kind of fire. But they are living organisms. So God enters that to experience that particular physical vessel. Now, our pure consciousness, God, can enter anything, can experience anything, not just human bodies. See, we've been trained to believe, programmed, that we can only enter humanoid bodies. And that's all there is, by the way. Throughout all the universes, that's it. And some believe that we are the only intelligent life form in existence ever, beyond, and forever. It's all on how we believe. Some believe that this planet is flat. Some believe that there are different structures like ice walls, domes of energy, firmament. They believe because they choose to believe. When you expand your imagination way beyond to where it is right in this very now moment, you begin to understand that since you are everything and everything is you, you have no limitations. Zero limitation. As soon as the ego mind determines, let's say you have something that you want to do, and the ego mind determines is that you can't do that. So you attract people that will tell you, you can't do that. Now, every once in a while, there are people that will say, watch me. And they'll do it. Not really out of spite, just that their thinking and their direction is way beyond most people on this planet. And there's people on this planet that have some pretty far out imaginations. And see, the imagination is what creates everything. If we couldn't imagine it, how could we create it? Right? It's like you would say to yourself, well, I can't imagine myself having this or having that. There's no way I could get that or have that. And so what you're doing is you're saying that you will never have that opportunity to experience having that or being in an environment that you choose to be in. So we direct our thoughts, your real thoughts, the ones that you send out, not the ones coming in. This is where we get fouled up. Most of us embrace the thoughts that aren't ours, but boy, they're so tricky that it makes us believe that they're ours. So we embrace them. We move them into form, and we create them into reality. Then we experience it. But when you intend something, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that it will be because of your confidence, faith, and trust in yourself and the universe, that's it. You send it out. And you have to send it out through the heart-mind, not the head. So our imagination is endless. Whatever you can imagine, you can create, no matter what it is. Focus on that, and you have the trust, confidence, and faith in yourself and the universe. It's a done deal. With no attachments or expectations, it's a done deal. So why is it the majority of us aren't doing that? Well, it's because of programming. Let's say you were deprogrammed and you were an empty vessel again, right? And so this programming came in, and it identified who and what you are. God in the body, the pure consciousness, the light energy, and not the body. It also programmed you to understand that anything is possible and that you never die. Can you imagine with that mindset what would take place on this planet? Also that the programming would be that you operate from the heart-mind. Okay? You, the heart-mind, master and commander, oversee the ego-mind. So you watch the ego mind to the extent where you learn very much, and that you're able to direct the ego mind as its master and not its servant. And then programming that affords you the understanding that you can, once you master the ego mind, it disappears. See, we were, these bodies, let's say, they were created to give us challenges, emotional challenges. And so when we enter them with amnesia, we don't have a clue. We have zero clue. And how do we operate? We operate on other people's thoughts. That's it. That's our guidance. That's our direction. That's our education from very small child all the way to adulthood and beyond. Because we're influenced during the course of our lives by what? Others. We're influenced. If you look at someone and you say, well, there's someone I'd like to be around, or there's someone I would like to interact with, and you find commonality or similarities in what you believe and how you look and view things and how they do. That's how we identify with each other and then become associated. Now, someone comes along that's really gruff and rough and irritating, and are you going to associate with them? Probably not. You probably won't. You'd rather not even step in that mud hole. But there are people who say, that's a challenge. I'd like to find out why this person is, and not analytically, but just to experience why they have the outlook they have. Now, where would it come from? Programming. It's programming. And the only thing that programs us is other people's thoughts on this planet. This is why our imaginations are stymied. Because we talk ourselves out of many things. Because we don't have the faith, trust, and confidence in ourselves. We really haven't had an opportunity to build the faith, trust, and confidence in ourselves. Why? Because we operate from the head, the ego mind, and not the heart mind. So we take things in that are, comments and statements from society that affect us and affect our decision making and affect how we live and how we perceive things. And this is very important for us to discover, all of us, we're not exempt from this programming. And it varies, as you well know, from one to the other. And we have different personalities, different characteristics, different viewpoints. Variety is unending. So it's not systematically, it's not laid out where everybody shuffles in the same direction, not looking right, not looking left, not looking rear, but just staring straight ahead as if they had horse blinders. When we try to wave, they have no peripheral vision, so they can't see you to respond. And this pretty much is what they call the rat race. Why is it called rat race? If you look at a colony of rats, you watch how they move, then you'd understand. You look at a city, busy city, right? New York, Chicago, Boston, the busy cities in the like say noonish. And what do you see? You see all these people scurrying. They're not interacting, okay? Very, if any. They're just looking straight ahead, and they're scurrying, rushing, shuffling really fast as they can. Are they the master and commander of their lives? No. Ego mind is. Hurrying here and there. You know, a lot of us, when we leave the body, the things that we, how do you put it, that we express. And the disappointment, which is really interesting, that we have when we leave the body, that we didn't do the things we wanted to do. Isn't that amazing? Most of us. There are a few that are very happy and content with the lives, that life that they had, that they have left behind. But that's a rarity. Most of us we're judgmental on ourselves because we didn't live the life we wanted to live. We spent too much time in areas that then now we look at them from the outside in and say, why did I spend all that time doing this, 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 and this? Why did I spend all this time where I didn't interact with my family, didn't get to know my kids, didn't do this, didn't do that? So they focus on the things that they didn't do, not the things that they did. Because anything we do in this life is magnificent. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do, really. Okay. And if we do nothing, we're still invaluable. You see, the society on this planet, which we co-created, dictates certain things to us, right? So when it dictates certain things to us, we follow, we respond. And, oh, you can't do that. No, that wouldn't be acceptable at all. Or if you do this, you're going to be ridiculed. And that stops us from being in a free-form position in life and doing what we want to do without the fear of the social response. Now, you'll see some people that you might have come across. They might be listening to music or something, and they're somewhere else. You ever notice that? They're totally oblivious to society. They are in a different zone. Then there's others of us that are so concerned about what society dictates that we're fear-ridden and we deny ourselves that direction because of fear of what? Judgment, ridicule, comments. There's something that you might want to do with your hair or wear or just little things, okay? But yet you start to think and go, no. People would be irritated about that. Or it wouldn't be acceptable. Or it wouldn't be appropriate, right? See, now, a woman, right, cannot dress seductively in society. Why? Because judgment is ruled upon her. You know, if she's got too revealing a dress, she's looked upon as being someone who is what? Not a good person. She would like to do that, but without being accosted or, by others in our society, rather than respecting each other. And the crucial part of that is that it's like everything with ourselves. If you don't respect yourself, truly, you're not going to respect anybody else. That's the bottom line. And this is why we have so many conflicts interacting with each other. Because unless we have our stuff in order, we've gone within, we've discovered the good, the bad, and the indifferent things about ourselves, some of the things we've done in this life, and we go through and we forgive ourselves and anybody involved with those situations. Period. We let it go. We forgive and we forget. And we move on. But when you add the programming onto that, say you add the programming and then everybody, they move into adulthood. They're fortunate enough to move into adulthood. They haven't been taught or programmed with anything concerning the God they are within the body. Nothing. People say, well, there are some religions. Yeah, but they just scratch the surface. It's a self-discovery for every one of us. And it is a choice for every one of us. Now, many on this planet, as we know, are not going to make it. So they'll come in on another lifetime. Will they come in on a 3D frequency? Absolutely. Because they didn't get it. And so it's like a cycle. Few get it. The rest continue. Okay? They continue and continue and continue. Lifetime after lifetime. Does that mean those of us who actually discover for ourselves through our own decisions who and what we are, does that mean we stop incarnating? No. Not at all. What it does mean is that we get more and more experience. And so we determine, do I want to go back down there? And then you start to, and in that direction, okay, you unravel the mystery of your memory recall being gone every time. Now, what's interesting in this very moment is that those blocks, those walls, whatever you want to call them, veils, are coming down. So the amnesia, I understand, things are designed to go in stages or sections. Too much too fast, not good, is not good. Majority do not adjust to that. It's very difficult. Only a few do adjust to it. So it comes in stages. First stage is that you discover who and what you are, without a question of a doubt. Then you discover that you stay within and you stay in the now. You have finally figured out there is no tomorrow or yesterday. The only thing any of us have is the now. That's the truth. None of us can 100% guarantee that when we go to bed, no matter what age we are, you go to bed, you don't know if you're going to wake up. That, and see, maybe some of you have experienced this, but you notice how you wander off into yesterday or tomorrow. When we do that, when we go into yesterday or tomorrow, we suffer. What's the suffering? The suffering is that we worry, stress, and fear. No one's exempt from that. None of us are. But we don't know. It's difficult for many of us to figure out the fact that through our childlike curiosity, we say, wait a minute, I have a choice here. I don't really need to suffer. I can choose the other direction. I can choose to stay in the now. And in the now, I guarantee you what you experience is there's no ego mind. There's no mind chatter. There's no interference. There's just total silence, total peace. Isn't that wild? And there's no suffering. There's no disappointment. That's only in the ego mind. So you would think, right, you would believe that, well, then everybody should be super motivated to go into the direction of learning how to be in the now and then stay in the now, which actually takes us into a heavy enlightenment or light enlightenment. So the enlightened beings that we aren't aware of, we don't correlate that yet, we become fully understanding and comprehending that we are enlightened beings. We don't get angry. Enlightened beings don't get angry. They don't get revengeful. They don't get greedy. Because they know who they are. They're infinite. If you knew without a shadow of a doubt, completely, 100%, confidence, faith, and trust in yourself and the universe, if you knew that you were never going to die and that you were the God in the body and not the body, how would you maneuver in this life that you're in right now? How would you maneuver it? It would be really pretty much carefree. You would know things like, these thoughts are not mine, and I know that, and I don't care to engage in them. Now, the thoughts that I'm going to send out are my thoughts, based upon my programming. So I know when I send those thoughts out, they're very powerful. And when I do that from my heart mind and not my head, not my ego mind, and I communicate to the universe while I'm in the now, those will manifest. Those thoughts will manifest. Now, when we embrace thoughts that we believe are ours, which are not, that's the trick. This is why we live things over and over again through thousands of years. This is why. When we talk about this being a journey, it's definitely a journey. The interesting thing about it is that we have chapters. Chapter ends, then we go into a new chapter. But the total journey is endless. This is what we do as gods. We constantly experience. We're divine perfection, and there are different levels of divine perfection. This is why we experience physical material life. Now, if you had all of this comprehension, then and you remember all your past lives. And since it's really not a big deal to know all your past lives, that's more ego-driven. All we're concerned about is the now, whether you lived, 50 million, a billion, trillion years as a god. All you're concerned about is the now. Very moment you're in. And this is how we navigate existence. See, we're in existence phase. Many life forms are. Eventually, we will move out of existence phase and beyond pure consciousness. So you begin to realize that this journey is endless. It's not going to end. Ever. So we experience and experience and experience and experience and experience. Sometimes we experience things more than once. But it all comes back to our programming and how we believe ourselves to be. And one of the most powerful tools that we have is our imagination. Right now, can you imagine that this planet has been restored to total pristine existence? That all the life forms and fauna have returned. The 99% that we have destroyed collectively throughout thousands and thousands and millions of years. And that we could bring all of that into balance and harmony, as it once was on the planet. And that your life would be magna glorious every single step of the way, in each moment. Not to say that you wouldn't throw in a couple of flavors that would challenge you from time to time. We have adventures through our imaginations. If you didn't have imagination, could you dream about things? Where you would wish for this or wish for that? If you didn't have imagination, that would be non-existent. And there are times that you might be imagining something, and then the ego mind comes in and says, "Oh, come on, this is silly that you're thinking this. Never going to happen." And so you shut it down. But there are those of us who view things like we're daydreaming or whatever you want to call it. And we're using our imagination in many different directions. And we know it's possible to create it. And it has nothing to do with the social structure on the planet that puts parameters onto us, dictates to us that, no, you can't do this. You're wasting your time, or you can't do that. It's not going to happen. All of that influences us. If you had, let's say you had 2 children. One of them was raised in a family that they constantly supported the child, encouraged the child to do what the child wanted to do. Not what they wanted the child to do, but what the child wanted to do. And so love, attention, goodness and kindness, and support. That child most likely, and encouraged to use their imagination forever. The only limitations that you have, that any of us have, we place on ourselves. No one else does, we do. We place on ourselves. Now, when you look at people like Thomas Edison, 1,000 tries at the light bulb, 1,000 times, 1,000 failures. His perspective was that no, these were just steps that finally got me to the final piece of the puzzle, which was that I created light. So it's our perspective. It's how we view things. If you think something's going to be insurmountable, frightening and fearful, what do you think the odds is that it will be? Pretty much it will be. Now, isn't it interesting, though? You could sit and worry about something. I mean, for a long time, right? You could worry about it. Not all. It's not like 24/7. It comes and goes. But bubbles back up. You worry about it. and it never happens. Isn't that interesting? We've all experienced that. Where you worry about something, stress and fear about something, and it doesn't happen. And then you say to yourself, why the heck was I worrying at all for? And that's the lesson. That's the lesson right there. We worry about things that never happen, instead of focusing on things that we want to happen. It all deals with our imagination and our centralized programming, which means that we can change anything we choose. Because when we look at something to change something, it is illusion. It isn't real. But it occupies us while we're in this journey in these bodies. It occupies us. So the illusion occupies us, and also we gain experience from the illusions. It's like one great big holodeck, right? It's like on Star Trek, the holodeck. You remember those? But this is huge. You could in that holographic imaging, you could trek 200 miles hike and up in mountains and oceans and everything, all holographically generated. Say you have somebody that goes through life and doesn't really experience much. In an early age, they cocoon themselves, speaking from the standpoint is that they fix themselves in one area and they stay there forever. You met people like that? Afraid to step outside that circle that they've created, that circle of comfort. And so no matter what no matter what opportunity the universe presents to them, they stay right there. Don't learn much. They don't learn much. They learn something by interfacing with other people, but not a lot. So you interact with them and you say, well, this person seems to be quite naive. They don't seem to be too informed. And you can usually connect that to answer your question out of your childlike curiosity, is that they were sheltered, so they couldn't expand, right? You've heard stories about people for certain extenuating circumstances leave home at a young age and just go through life as one big adventure. So they're really not concerned about they better have a career, they better do this, they better do that. They just kind of float along and do what they need to do to enjoy their lives. That's it. And sometimes they figure out they don't need to do anything to enjoy their lives. We came here to enjoy our lives. We were outfitted with everything possible and beyond that we could ever need to assist us. I mean, we're so equipped, it's amazing. And here's this life, physical, material life that we have the opportunity to experience more than once. And because of the infrastructure that we have co-creatively put together, we just go in the circle. We just go in a circle. Have you ever been on a merry-go-round? You just sit there and you watch, all the things around you outside the merry-go-round. After a while, going in the circle, seeing the same things over and over and over again, you stop paying attention. Right? And that's when you slip into the ego mind more and more and more. And then you start looking at life as being jaded, not that fun. I've heard people say that when they start to say to themselves, why did they come here? It's not worth it. All that doldrum type energy and frequency. And all along, they're weaving more of it for themselves. So staying in the now, using our phenomenal imagination. So we all have them. Oh, no, somebody has more than someone else. Well, you have a really great imagination. Well, you do too. It's just kind of buried. And society did that. And we co-created society. The human psyche is the society of the planet. Now, when we embrace our imagination, anything is possible. That's a definitive. That anything is possible. And as we become more familiar with that, and we embrace it fully, then your limitation melt away. You have no limits anymore. You feel totally free. And when the people of this planet begin to open up more and more to themselves and let go of things, and figuring out that they don't need to strive, they don't need to climb and scratch their way to the proverbial top. That's the rat race mentality. They're here to enjoy their lives. Do whatever you want to do. Don't restrict yourself. You open things up for yourself. You want something, you want to do something, do it. You know, a lot of us will sit there and go, well, I don't know, and maybe I shouldn't, and that type of thing. But boy, it sure looks fun. Or boy, I would really enjoy that. Whatever it may be. So, when you have things that the universe brings right in front of your face, and, you know, we all do it. We're all, none of us are exempt. We all start hemming and hawing due to our programming, how we were raised, what were the influences. And we go, and then someone's sitting there once in a while. You might have a friend or somebody says, why not? What do you have to lose? Well, it looks pretty daring. That's the fun of it. Did we come here to just sit and play tiddlywinks and contemplate the lint in our navels through the years? Or did we come here to enjoy ourselves? Every moment. See, that's how you start correlating the fact that I live in the now. I focus on the now. I know that's all I have. And that's why when you wake up the next morning and you're in the now, you're greeted with what? An adventure. Each day is an adventure. It's a new adventure. It's not the same. It can never be the same. In other words, every time you wake up, it's all brand new. Now, no, it isn't. I look around. I have my bedroom and a bed and this and that and everything. And, I've got the neighbors and I look around here and there. But it's different. You are not going to have any day the same. Even though your perception is that it's redundant, it's the same, and every day is the same, every day is the same. It can't be, say. It's already changed. It changes every atomic second. And the interesting thing about that is that then you do discover, through your imagination, that what? None of it's real. It's all an illusion, created collectively, so we can experience. Doesn't that make sense? We create the very lives that we experience. We experience things. We're not going to sit around on a log humming for eternity. It's just not our thing. We will experience. We will create our experiences. We will throw in surprise experiences, and it keeps things what? Exciting, interesting. That's why it's recommended that we all embrace our childlike curiosity. We don't take things seriously. Why take things seriously? It's temporary anyway. Do you think you're a failure? That's an illusion. And then look at how many people spend their lifetimes not liking themselves. And that's ego mind. They spend their whole life fretting and worrying about themselves. And then the next thing you know, they're out of that body and that life. And then they go, you got to be kidding me. I spent 90 years doing that the whole time, whoever it may be, when I could have really been enjoying myself. Well, now I'm out of the body. When you eat something or smell something or touch something, feel, warm, nice warm summer breeze on your face, those are all absolutely magna-glorious occurrences for us. We take them for granted. Because like I've said, when you leave that body, you couldn't create a turkey sandwich day after Thanksgiving, right? You wouldn't even know how it tasted. You would have all of that would be gone. Or what it feels like to take a hot shower. Things like that, little things that we just kind of take in stride, and it's just part of life, part of life, part of life, part of life. Is it a negative? No. But the more we discover about ourselves, the more we move into enlightenment, ascension, and higher vibrational frequencies, because then we start to understand, there's no reason I'm going to create low frequencies, woe is me frequencies, worry, stress, fear frequencies. And of course, we experience those so that we know the difference. I don't think any of us do not know the difference between worry, stress, fear, and happiness, joy, and bliss. I think we know the difference. It's very apparent. So, okay, we've done that. And it's like you're going on a food tasting thing, and you got all these different varieties of foods, and you taste that, and you go, no, I don't like that. And you taste this, and nah, I don't like that. Oh, this one's good. I like that, and I could eat that a lot. It's the same way with the life that we have, which is super precious. And so we choose to spend our life learning about ourselves, who and what we are, moving into higher vibrational frequencies, staying in the center, the peace. We've all experienced peace for ourselves, what the feeling is. It's when there's nothing entering. You have no worry, no stress, no fear. However short a period of that window is for you, you've experienced it. Total peace, relaxation, no worry, stress, fear, because you're in the now. You're not thinking anything. You're not doing anything. You're just in the now. And the imagination is connected to all of that. If we didn't have imaginations, we'd be dead in the water. We really would. That's how important it is that we have our childlike curiosity intact throughout this life, and that we use our imaginations endlessly. Because there's avenues of negative imagination, pessimistic imagination, and self-destructive imagination, where you're always negating yourself. No matter how far out you think, it always ends in what? Failure. And there's no such thing as failure. That's a word introduced to the civilization. Well, you failed. No, you experienced. That's it. And that's the real root of it. So in the quiet time of this meditation, explore your imagination. Let it go. Let it fly out freely and see where it goes. You have no expectations and no attachments. You're in the now. What better time during the quiet time of this meditation is to just let your imagination go wild. And you want to direct it. You're not interested in imagining doom, 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 doom. You're interested in imagining all the wonderful progressive things that you can do, and that you have no limitations and anything is possible. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Have you ever noticed how your mind is a relentless thinking, striving, demanding machine? It is always busy, always attempting to create a new you. The ironic thing is that with all this busyness, there's never enough time to stop and experience the real, infinite you. So randomly today, be aware of the entertaining thoughts your mind focuses upon. Whatever your stories are about, your past and future, do not buy into them. For today, see how long you can actually remain in the present moment of now and let your mind totally relax. What will it take until all of your internal dialogue stops and the suffering is released? Your body-mind will naturally find this peaceful relaxation when you are giving 100% of yourself to this experience of life, right here, right now. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Sunday, November 25, 2023. That's 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you.